Good afternoon, Kinsey.
Hi, Kev. Congratulations on your new show.
Yeah, you better come on it.
I know.
I want you on it. I know you have to get up in the morning, but I need to get you on it. In fact, I want you on Monday with a bit of luck, but let's not talk about office affairs. First of all, Harry and Meghan. We said, you know, they've been nominated for an award from the Hollywood Critics Association for their documentary series on Netflix, Harry and Meghan. But soon after that, we found out they haven't been nominated for the Emmys. So, I mean, I don't want to deride the Hollywood Critics Association Awards, but...
No, let's do it.
Yeah,
let's
brilliant,
Let's talk about the Hollywood Critics Association. They recently changed their name. They were Los Angeles Online Film Critics Society.
Oh, wow.
So this Hollywood Critics Association makes it sound so much more prestigious than it is.
Right.
You know, if you look at this Hollywood Reporter article about... some of the scandal that's gone on with the HCA Awards, they have literally been accused of rigging some of these categories, the purpose being for PR.
Yeah.
Specifically, there is an example given about them deciding that they wanted the Hate You Give to win for Best Picture or something. So the founder actually putting in a vote towards that, and his wife putting in a vote towards that. Now they deny this, but this was a story told by another one of the co-founders that was given the boot and is no longer in there. It's just been recently that they've had a third party tabulate the votes. There have been extreme questions about the HCA's lack of transparency as far as voting and tabulating. And it was in 2022, I believe, that they brought in a third party. Yeah. So they were created in 2016. They've changed their name to sound bigger and better than they are. And this guy admits to continuously giving Kristen Stewart awards because he's obsessed with her and he likes for her to show up at the award show. So this to me is the biggest PR stunt from the HCA trying to legitimize themselves, because what they want is for Harry and Meghan to show up. What they want is for you and all of these people to be like, this prestigious Hollywood award show. Kevin, it's not even televised. No, I mean, nobody knows that this thing exists. I just think that they've got the benefit of the doubt of having a big fancy name and hoping that nobody looks into their background, where so many people have resigned because they did not like the way it was being handled. But he also admits to calling up the publicists and saying, hey, so-and-so's going to win, to ensure that the butts in the seats.
They come, yeah, they
show up. So I wouldn't be surprised if Harry and Meghan won this, because it would give these people the most publicity they'd ever had in their life if Harry and Meghan picked up and showed up. And they actually might, because who else is going to give this crock a trophy?
I mean, the point that, so let's move on to a proper awards ceremony, the Emmys, from which the names Harry and Meghan are conspicuous by their absence. No nomination there.
Oh, and that when those headlines that they could potentially win an Emmy, went haywire a few months ago, I just cringed, because I thought, certainly not. Certainly somebody's going to say this is completely one-sided. There's a lack of transparency, and it's littered with contradictions based on some of their own words. And not only did they contradict half of their previous statements, but they didn't even include the biggest, most shocking revelation from the Oprah Winfrey interview. They included nothing about the alleged royal racist in this 6 hours of Netflix. So, to me, I just thought there's certainly no way that this is going to get an Emmy nomination. Here we are now hearing that they're allegedly devastated over the snub. And I, you have to give credit where credit is due. It was one of the most streamed documentaries for Netflix of all time. But it was morbid curiosity that led people to sit down.
It was eye-catching. It was quite compelling because there they were doing what they do best, pouring an enormous bucket over the royal family, over King Charles, and indeed the entire British nation, who they basically accused of being the beneficiaries of slavery. My family come from Ireland. I don't think we've ever benefited from slaves, but according to Harry and Meghan, we're all slave owners, slave traders. So that was the tenor of that series. It was compelling, but I don't think it was all that good. So well done to the Emmys for dishing them a well-deserved snub. Let's move on because I want to talk about your president again, I'm afraid, Kinsey. He's been at... This is so weird. So he's at this event and he starts sort of biting a baby. Can we show the video? Let's have a look. Look at this. Look at this.
Ugh.
What is going on
He's
there?
gonna smell her too. He's gonna smell her. Wait, he's gonna smell her. There he is.
Oh God. Oh. Seriously, Kinsey, what is going on? This is, you know, we're used to laughing at him falling over and falling off bicycles and falling upstairs trying to get onto aeroplanes and all his useless, laughable verbal gaffes. He barely gets through a sentence without screwing it up. But that's just weird. Disturbing.
It's creepy.
Yeah, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I just imagine that if people had made such a big deal out of an activity or something that I'd physically done in the past, like sniffing people, if that had become a joke that, I mean, I even think SNL has acknowledged, that Saturday Night Live, our comedy show here, I don't know why I wouldn't make a real effort to stop sniffing people. I mean, it's gross to bite on her. Like, I totally agree that part's weird.
It's a very good thought, Kinsey. It's a very good thought, yeah. Okay, Joe, we've been thinking about the presidential campaign and the baby biting thing, we don't like it. What do you think? Yeah. Get rid of it, yeah?
Can we stop sniffing anybody, all the people? I just don't understand. I mean, I sometimes run out of the house without perfume on, and I'm just in great fear that that's the day that I'll meet Joe Biden. And
exactly. I mean, to be serious for a second, I know we discuss this all the time, but you know, he's just not all there, is he, the poor old guy? And he's the president of the United States. He cannot be allowed to run again, can he?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think you're going to see a Gavin Newsom, you know, slug it out with RFK Jr. for that spot. I think that Gavin is probably the dream candidate for the Democratic Party because RFK is kind of uncontrollable. He's kind of a maverick. But I do think that Gavin is going to be the golden boy. They've just got to find a way to get him out. And that's why sometimes when Hunter gets a pass, I wonder, I'm surprised because I feel like they're looking for any way to boot him out. Is it Hunter? Is it his age? Is it some of his ailments? I do think that they're looking for a way out.
There's a story this week that Mike Graham and I discussed on our popular new 9:30 slot every day on talkTV, 9:30 until 10. Mike and Kev, don't miss it. So I'm going to be on from 9:30 until 10 every day, and then from 3 until 5 p.m. So your cup runneth over if you like Kevin O'Sullivan. I'm going to have a great time. You lot, maybe not. But seriously,
a man in demand.
Yeah, a man in demand. No, but Mike and I were discussing. There's a funny story. That Joe Biden, the staff in the White House are terrified of him because he's got a hair trigger temper and he keeps swearing. He's got apparently really foul mouth, shouting people out. So altogether, this guy just adds up to someone that I think the Democrats somehow, some way, have got to persuade not to stand again. But he's a stubborn old geezer and he's saying he will.
I just can't imagine. There are so many skeletons that are being exposed between, you know, I mean, it was, I think, the New York Times or the New Yorker recently, which are very liberal publications, that came out and said, you have 7 grandchildren. Stop not acknowledging this baby in Arkansas that Hunter is refusing, you know, publicly. So that was surprising to see. I mean, we can find Osama bin Laden, but we can't find who brought coke into the White House. That's ludicrous. Nobody's buying that. Yeah. There are just so many things that are triggering people and are making people go, you know. I did a podcast last week where I kind of made fun of Biden with King Charles. I apologize, King Charles. And I was so worried that people would be upset over what I had said about President Biden, and my mom was like, I think everybody's on board now. I think everybody realizes that they're all the crayons are not in the box, and it's go time. We got to figure it out. So
I think he should be somehow prevented from running for his own sake. It's getting. It's always funny, when he screws it up. He had an amazing moment this week where he was trying to pronounce some Oriental name and made a complete mess of it. And you remember he confused Iraq with Ukraine. We're winning the Iraq war. The Iraqis are winning the war. No, Ukraine, Joe. It's embarrassing, and you feel sorry for him. He's not up to this, is he?
He's not up to it, and he's not a positive reflection on our country. Who's not going to look at us and go, I think I'm going to nuke him? Yeah. That guy's not going to do anything. Like, who cares? Let's just take it over. Let's just, he doesn't make me feel safe and secure, not the way that former presidents have. Right. And I do think that it's time to let it go. Let the Joe go. Absolutely.
A couple of bitter divorces before you go, Kinsey, to finish on an upbeat note, but we all love a Hollywood divorce, don't we? So Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, they're fighting over every possession they ever had. A lot of the focus is on the vineyard they bought in south of France, which makes a very good rosé called Miraval. I recommend it. I've drunk a lot of it. Great deal, actually. I've drunk a lot of everything. Anyway, that is at the center. And anyway, this is a very bitter divorce. They're fighting over knives and forks and skis and God knows what, aren't they?
It's bitter. It's very bitter, but it's also PR-wise a nightmare, because Brad Pitt has accused Angelina Jolie and her attorneys of leaking really nasty stories about him to try to damage his career to the point of defamation. And, most recently they said he was acting like a child in regards to the vineyard. And, I think that it's become so petty that Americans are tuned out. I don't really think the American public eats this up the way that they would have 20 years ago. And I'll tell you why, because Brad Pitt is so likable. I think if we disliked,
isn't he? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he's busy working. I think he's cleaned up when it comes to his alleged alcoholism. The last time my mom and I talked about him was his Benjamin Button syndrome. The man looks like he's 20 years younger, and I don't know how he's done it. But we're more concerned about what he's going to do next professionally, what he looks like today, who he's dating. To us, Angie is a thing of the past. There's not a lot of exciting things happening in her life, and she seems to be the one that keeps throwing gasoline on the open flame, which is not a good look. So so we're just kind of like over it.
Yeah, I think you're right. People do like Brad Pitt, and they don't like her so much. A quick last divorce. Kevin Costner's a lot of money involved. His wife was claiming, I think, something absurd like $250,000 a month. Has got some kind of deal from him now. He's sticking to the prenup. She's hoping to get a bigger slice of the action, but that one is pretty bitter too, isn't it?
Right. And she actually kind of got her way. She's being given over $150,000 a month. Now, the prenup said he would only be giving her approximately $50,000 a month. So this was a win for her. But now he's gone back to the judge and said, I can prove to you that she's been stealing from me in preparation to leave me. Now, they've leased cars their entire relationship. They've been together over 20 years. And right before she filed for divorce, she went out and purchased a car. The prenup says if she owns anything, or there's a car or anything that she owns, she gets to keep it. So he's trying to prove to the judge that she went out, made purchases, moved money around, and blatantly stole from him prior to filing for divorce so she could keep things. It doesn't look good, because he has a lot of receipts to prove this theory. And so we're waiting to see what the judge says about this. And maybe he might reverse some of that money he's promised, or he's decided that Kevin owes her monthly based on the amount of, alleged scheming she did prior to filing for divorce.
Well, I'm back in Kev because we Kevs have got to stick together. Now, my last question to you, Kinsey, is: are you an early riser?
I know what you're going to say. I know what you're going to say. I'm not an early riser.
Well, you are now.
I'll try to be for you.
Now, I want to get you onto my show. We won't get you on at 3 o'clock, but I want to get you on. So 3 to 5, I calculate 5 o'clock's around about 9 o'clock your time, isn't it? So 3 o'clock.
Allegedly.
3 o'clock is 7 a.m. That's too early, but I am going to cajole and persuade you onto my show. But it's been great. This 6 o'clock bit has been one of the highlights of the show every week. So thank you so much for a fab year and everything you've contributed to this show. But your ordeal with me, Kinsey, is not over, I promise you. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon, maybe tomorrow. It's Kinsey Schofield, Queen of America. She's great, isn't she?
Yes.